Good morning. You think this is seasoned salt, but it is not. Regularly, I eat popcorn at night. That's been a part of the Kalman tradition for years and years and years and years. And so I ate popcorn last night, but what you may not know or care about is the fact that this is some secret ingredient that we put on our popcorn every time. There's a little written word, if you can see it, it says Westcott. This is the Jeff Westcott salty mix for popcorn that's amazing. You can use it on a lot of different things. And I was thinking about that last night, that we've eaten our popcorn like that for years, and how that it changes the whole experience. It's different than salt. I can't really get into it. If you want to come over and try some with me, you're more than welcome. But it has an amazing effect on the experience. And so I'm just thinking about that. There's places in the Bible that speak to how that salt is so effective if used properly. And so then I got onto this topic that I want to speak on today. And so the question is, are you an encourager? Are you a person that encourages other people? Is that a regular part of your lifestyle, conversations? Is that intentional or is it accidental? One of the ways that I've always seen it presented, are you a dry well or a living stream? So do you suck the life out of every conversation, and when people walk away from you, are they discouraged and dried up? Or are you a person that, because of where you're at, that God flows through you and you encourage other people? So actually, there's a place in Scripture that I want to turn today that helps us, because there's a word that is used that really describes the idea of building up. It's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. So 1 Thessalonians 5:11, and the word encourage is used in that passage. The word is in the Greek parakaleo, which means to build up, to comfort, to console, to cheer. And so I was thinking about all the times that I've had people that have cheered me, and because I was an athlete, then it wasn't too long in the process that there were young ladies along the sideline called cheerleaders, and they would their job was to engage the crowd, to connect them to what's going on in the game, and to cheer on the team to victory. And that's a generic form of encouragement. It's a corporate idea. But when we start to think about all the people that have cheered us on, I think of my mom, and my mom was a great cheerleader. I think of other people in my life that have been huge cheerleaders, whether they were coaches or employers or family members. You have those people in your life that are cheerleaders. They encourage you along. They build you up. They comfort you. They console you. They cheer you on. And so in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, it says this: "Therefore encourage one another and build up one another, just as you also are doing." This particular book of the Bible, 1 Thessalonians, is one of the few books that there's not a problem. So it's actually a book written by Paul, and he is encouraging this church in Thessalonica. They didn't have major blowouts. They weren't having doctrinal issues. They weren't having moral issues. They were doing it as they were taught to do it. And so he's encouraging them, like, keep going on. Keep doing this. And so I thought it would be good to come up with just 6 ways or 6 characteristics of what it looks like to be an encourager, so that you can become an encourager today, or that you choose to encourage others today. So it's very intentional. It's very important to be present with the people you're around and take the opportunity. So number 1 is you have to be an others-focused person. If you're that individual that's always thinking about yourself, you're going to be a long ways to get to the point where that you're going to encourage someone else. You're going to be quick to want to tell what your problems are, your challenges are, and learn to be an others-focused person, so that when you walk into a room, you're not thinking of yourself in relationship to others, but just the opposite, that you're thinking of others in relation to you, and how that you can encourage them. So be others focused. And that's a difficult thing, but it is a discipline thing that can be done, particularly when in certain settings. Let's just say that you're attending a church or you're going to church. Well, that can be a consumer event or that can be a ministry opportunity, where that you're coming and you're wanting fed or you're wanting encouraged. Well, if you turn that around and that you decide that you're going to make that experience a ministry opportunity, a way to encourage other people, it changes the whole thing. That starts when you're getting dressed. That starts when you're on your way. That starts when you're in the parking lot. That starts when you walk in the door. And those are opportunities, whether it is in a setting like a faith community setting, or maybe just going into work. Like today, I'm going to be a positive force for encouragement at my job. The second thing, which is a really hard one, and one that I wouldn't say that I'm super duper good at, but I think that it's important not to be a person that is filled with sarcasm and jesting and humor. Humor usually takes something that's true and then exaggerates it, right? And then it's funny. And if we identify with that particular incident or situation, we find it humorous. But when we jest and when we find ourselves in a place where that we're using sarcasm and humor, and that is a part of our regular speech, that can be very detrimental to others. So if you refrain from those kind of things, I guarantee you what will happen is that you'll have to be very selective in your words and you'll be more apt to encourage someone. So that's a difficult challenge there, but one that we really need to figure out. I don't think that we can do number one, which is be others focused, and then use sarcasm, jesting, and humor with them, and it always turns out right. The third thing is pray for those who you intend on encouraging and then let them know. So again, that's a very intentional thing, where that you know there are people that you want to encourage. You can just take the next step and say, you know what, I'm going to pray for them, and I'm going to tell them and let them know that I'm going to pray for them. So the first thing, be others focused. 2, watch what you say and eliminate the jesting and the humor and the sarcasm. Number 3, you want to think in terms of prayer. Number 4, rejoice with those that succeed and accomplish. So you're looking for opportunities. I have a couple people in my life that if there's something that happens for me that's a success or that is something that I've accomplished, I'll see them send articles from the paper or something that collects or has reflected that success, and they encourage me through their words or even through the pen. So it says in the Bible that we're to rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. Find a place in your communication with others to encourage them through their successes. So it may be something simple. They may have retained a position at the workplace. It may be that they've had an addition to their family. It may be that they've just got off the best vacation ever. You can encourage them and they'll know if you're genuine in terms of what you say. Number 5, encourage others back to God. So this is one that maybe we don't think of, but in this season and time, it's important because there are people who have fallen away from church. And most likely that means that they've fallen away from God. Not always, but I'm pretty confident to say that if they've removed themselves from a faith community, that part of that is that they've removed themselves from the influence of God. And so encourage others back. In Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 and 2, it says this, "Brethren, even if anyone is caught up in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourselves, so that you will not be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and therefore fulfill the law of Christ." So now we take it into a whole different dynamic, another dimension, which is encourage them back. We've missed you. You need to get back in church. It's not going to hurt you. It's a very good place. I'll go with you, and on the things that you could say go. And one last thing is use effective words. So Colossians 4:6 says this, "Let your speech always be with grace, as though seasoned with salt." So there you go. Now you understand how I led on to this. I was thinking about this passage, how that Jeff's secret sauce changes the whole experience with popcorn. What you're wanting to do is using your words to totally impact the experience that someone else has because of the kind words that you say. He goes on to say this, so that you may know how you should respond to each person. So let your speech always be with grace, as though seasoned with salt. And if you think of it in terms of being that added ingredient that changes the whole dynamic of the conversation, then you're on your way to being a person of parakaleo, a person of encouragement, a person that is lifting others up, building others up, cheering them on. So make this day a day where that you can grab hold of what you say and how you carry yourself to be an encourager. We'll see you Sunday.